L'honorable député de Thornhill, il vous reste 9 minutes et 30 secondes.
Speaker, our job here in the House of Commons is to hold ministers to account and try to get answers on the things about why so many things have gone wrong here in Canada. But every day, members on the other side of this House get up and insist that Canadians have never had it so good. They have never had it better. Things are going so well in this country, as if they don't talk to anyone at home. And to make their point, they bring meaningless, manufactured statistics that are supposed to show how great they really are. But in fact, they show how out of touch and clueless they truly are. One of their favorite tactics is to talk about the global forces, other countries, wars in distant lands, to pass the buck from Ottawa to someone else, to somewhere else, to something else. And we're talking about housing today like we have been for many months and even years. But the Liberals still don't seem to get the message that a cost of a home in this country is just too high for anyone. So I'm going to try to put it in terms that they will understand, showing exactly how out of control our housing crisis has become. I'm going to take some prices and see what you can buy here and what you can buy elsewhere, which of course has the added benefit of showing Canadians that this is a uniquely Canadian problem, at least in scope. Let's start in Toronto, a 2-bedroom house covered in graffiti in the Kensington neighbourhood. It's on the market for $2.8 million. That very same amount of money can buy you a 20-bedroom castle on 5 acres in Scotland. It has 45 rooms, a movie theater, a botanical garden, a pond, and even a private beach. And you have the added bonus of living in a country with no carbon tax, Mr. Speaker. If you don't want to live in the big smoke, I can understand. Well, I don't really understand why people don't want to live there, but I can understand why you would have your preferences. How about Kitchener, where there's another 2-bedroom home up for the steal of $1.8 million. Spoiler alert, it's not a steal at all. You get a tiny property with a little backyard and hardly enough room to raise a family. $1.8 million. And if you want a little bit more breathing room, maybe consider spending that $1.8 million on a lake-facing castle in Sweden on a 4-acre property. So there's much more space for everyone. If you're still not convinced, let's go to Vancouver, where the member opposite is from, where a 3-bedroom house sells for $4.6 million. You also get to pay the highest gas prices in Canada, some of the highest taxes. You get to drive to work in an open-air government-supplied drug market, which this NDP Liberal government supports, on your way to work. Absolutely stunning, Mr. Speaker. If you prefer more peace and quiet, or maybe you want a bit of a deal, there's an 11th century castle in England up for sale for $4.4 million. It comes with 32 acres of land, 22,000 square feet of living space, including 17 bedrooms. It's quote-unquote an idyllic retreat with farmland and even its own creek for fishing, rights included. I can go on and on. France, Honduras, Argentina, Wisconsin. The fact of the matter is that Canada's housing market is so broken, and these Liberals are the ones who broke it, with the help of the NDP, of course. Housing prices have doubled in just 8 years. A mortgage payment has doubled. The average income needed to buy a home in Ontario is over $175,000, and that's much more than the average salary, as we all know. No amount of partisan spin can minimize the fact that it is now cheaper to buy a castle in Europe than a family home in Canada. And if that doesn't convince these Liberals to tell them that home prices are unattainable to the average Canadians, I don't know what will. So we have to ask the question, what are people supposed to do? Young people looking to break in the market, pay off their student loans, start a job, maybe start a family. 9 in 10 of those young people do not ever believe that they will own a home in this country. There are newcomers looking to Canada for opportunity and the life better than the one they left, like my parents did 48 years ago. Everyone else who is struggling under repeated double-digit increases in the cost of rent, it's doubled too in just 8 years. It used to take you 25 years to pay off the mortgage. It now takes you 25 years in Toronto to save up for a down payment on a single-family home. The answer is, of course, is that they can't do anything because affordability is too far out of reach. And despite working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, multiple jobs, cutting back on the things that you want, people are getting left behind, and they are losing hope, and they are giving up on that Canadian dream that was on offer even 8 years ago. Things weren't like this 8 years ago, and they are not going to be like this when the Liberals are gone. Our mission is to bring that back, to ensure that you can get a good home in a safe neighborhood through hard work, dedication, and saving, the way that it always was in Canada, and to make Canada the place where we just don't have to compare the price of an average home to a luxurious castle in Europe to make the point. It's going to take a new government with a new vision to do that. And we cannot and should not trust the same people who got us into this mess to get us out of it. And we should specifically not trust the same people who spend $54 million on a useless border app to companies who didn't even do the work on the app, who lose track of nearly 1 million people, who have students living under bridges and tents, who can't bring themselves to put repeat violent offenders behind bars, who can't do anything close to competent. Our party is the only one with a common sense plan to put Canadians back into control of their own lives and return the promise of Canada that always was.